work hard in silence. Good evening, everyone. There's something beautiful about the sound of silence. It has the power to speak louder than words, to teach us lessons, to remind us who we are. Silence is often seen as emptiness, a void, but it's where the magic truly happens. So many of us feel the need to announce our dreams, to tell the world what we're going to do, to seek validation. We want everyone to know that we're working hard, but I've learned that the most profound transformations happen when no one is watching. That's the power of working in silence. You don't need to proclaim your vision. You don't need to shout your intentions from the rooftops. Because the world isn't changed by words, it's changed by action. I want to talk to you about embracing the journey. See, we live in a time where we glorify the final moment, the success, the achievement, but often overlook the process. But success isn't a moment, it's a journey. It's waking up every single day with a quiet determination, with a purpose in your heart. It's staying committed when no one's cheering for you, when the road feels long, when doubt creeps in. True strength lies in the discipline of working when the world isn't looking. That's what I mean when I say silence speaks volumes. There's no need to announce where you're going. The work you do, the sacrifices you make, the hours you put in those will tell your story. Let your actions speak. Let your progress be your voice. And here's the truth that challenges the moments of doubt, the failures that come when no one is watching. Those are what build resilience. Resilience in the quiet. It's in those moments that you truly find out who you are and what you're capable of. It's easy to keep going when the crowd is cheering, but when you're alone with your thoughts, with only your own voice to guide you, that's where real growth happens. And as you work, I want you to remember something incredibly important, the power of self-awareness. You are not working for applause. You are not working for external validation. You're doing it for your purpose, your dreams, your fulfillment. Knowing why you're working, knowing who you're working for, is what gives you the strength to keep going in the silence. Because at the end of the day, if you are not grounded in who you are and what you want, the noise of the world will always get in the way. Celebrate those quiet victories, the ones no one else sees, the ones that seem small but are monumental, because they are the building blocks of your dream. Those private moments when you know deep down you're moving forward, those are the moments that will sustain you. And believe me, when the time comes, your success will be so loud, so undeniable, that the world will have no choice but to recognize it. But until then, keep working. In the silence, let the quiet be your guide. Let your actions speak for themselves. Because as I've come to understand in my own journey, the most powerful voice you will ever have is the one that doesn't need to be heard, it only needs to be felt. Embrace the journey. Success is not an overnight phenomenon. It's not a destination you suddenly arrive at, but a journey filled with steps, some small, some large, that shape you into who you are meant to become. Let me tell you something. We often get caught up in this idea that success is a straight line, that it's just about hitting one goal after the next. But I've learned, and I'm sure many of you have, that the real growth, the real transformation happens in between those moments of achievement. It happens in the quiet, in the spaces where you're not sure if things are working out, when you're putting in the time, the effort, the energy, and no one's watching. Every single step you take, even the ones that seem insignificant, is leading you somewhere. You may not see it right now. You may feel like nothing's happening, but I promise you something is happening. The journey is preparing you. It's teaching you lessons, refining you, testing your resilience, and shaping your character. Because the truth is, you're not just working towards your dreams are working on you. You see, we live in a world that celebrates the end result. She made it. He's a success. Look at what they've achieved. But very few people talk about what it takes to get there. The late nights, the sacrifices, the moments when you feel like giving up. The journey is the success. Every time you push forward, every time you overcome an obstacle, you are becoming more of who you are meant to be. And let me tell you something else. It's not just about reaching the goal. It's about who you become on the way there. The person you were when you started is not the person you'll be when you arrive. The process changes you. The lessons you learn, the people you meet, the challenges you face, they all add layers to your experience, to your wisdom. So when we talk about embracing the journey, we're really talking about being present in every part of it. Not just the highs, but the lows. Not just the applause, but the quiet moments when you're unsure of your next step. Each part of the journey has a purpose. You may not see it today, but one day when you look back, you'll understand that every setback, every detour, every pause was leading you exactly where you were meant to go. What I've come to realize is that when you embrace the journey, you let go of the pressure to have everything figured out right now. You allow yourself to trust the process, to trust the timing of your life. There is no rush. There is no race. There is only your path and the way you choose to walk it. Silence speaks volumes. There's something powerful about silence, isn't there? It's often misunderstood. We tend to think that if we're not talking about what we're doing, if we're not announcing our dreams, then maybe they don't exist. But let me tell you, some of the most profound movements happen in the quiet. Some of the greatest achievements are born in silence. You don't have to broadcast every step of your journey to prove you're moving forward. You don't need to seek validation from others to know you're on the right path. Sometimes the most significant work, the most powerful transformations happen in moments when no one else is looking. That's when you're building your foundation brick by brick with a determination that doesn't need applause to keep going. When I say silence speaks volumes, what I'm really saying is that the work will always speak for itself. It doesn't need a loud introduction or a standing ovation along the way. True success doesn't come from how many people are watching, it comes from what you're doing when no one is watching. It comes from the hours you put in when the world is asleep. It comes from the quiet moments of doubt when you dig deep and remind yourself why you started in the first place. There's a strength in silence that people often underestimate. Because when you're not seeking approval, when you're not constantly explaining yourself, you allow your actions to do the talking. And let me tell you, there's no voice louder than the voice of results. There's no statement more powerful than showing up every day, putting in the work, and letting your progress shine without needing to shout about it. The world we live in today can make you feel like you have to constantly update people on what you're doing, post it, share it, talk about it. But the real movers, the real shakers, are the ones who know the value of keeping their heads down and doing the work. They understand that their energy is better spent building their dreams, not narrating them. Think about it, some of the most remarkable people you admire didn't tell the world every time they took a step forward. They didn't need to. Their success, their impact, it spoke for them. And you, too, have that same power. You have the ability to create, to achieve, to build something magnificent without constantly feeling the need to broadcast every moment of it. Silence gives you space to focus. It gives you room to grow. It allows you to concentrate on what really matters, your purpose, your passion, your vision. And in that silence, you gain clarity. You begin to hear your own voice more clearly, your own intuition. You start to realize that the only approval you truly need is the one that comes from within. When you work in silence, you protect your dreams. You shield them from the noise, from the opinions of others, from the distractions that can pull you off course. You nurture them quietly, allowing them to take root and grow strong before you ever feel the need to reveal them. And by the time your dream is ready for the world to see, it will be so undeniable, so powerful that it will speak for itself. So don't be afraid of silence. Don't mistake quiet for inactivity. There's a wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to stay silent, when to share and when to keep your dreams close to your heart. Because in that silence, you're building something that will eventually be too great to ignore. You're allowing the work, the dedication, the passion to rise up and speak for you. Let your actions speak. There's something I've come to understand deeply in my life and in my career. Words can inspire, but it's actions that make the real difference. We live in a world where people talk about their plans, their goals, their dreams, but the ones who truly rise above are the ones who understand the power of doing. The ones who know that at the end of the day, it's not about what you say you're going to do, it's about what you actually do. When I say let your actions speak, I'm not talking about the grand, flashy moves. I'm talking about the consistency, the discipline, the quiet persistence that happens behind the scenes. The work that no one claps for. The moments when you choose to keep going, even when it feels like no one's paying attention. That's where greatness is born. That's where lives are changed, not in the proclamations, but in the perseverance. So many of us spend time talking about what we're going to do, seeking approval, waiting for someone to tell us, you're on the right track, but what if I told you that you don't need anyone to tell you that? What if I told you that the most powerful way to show the world who you are and what you're capable of is through the work itself? Not through your words, but through your effort, your dedication, your results. Let me tell you something, results are undeniable. People may doubt your words, they may question your intentions, but no one can argue with the results of hard work. No one can deny the evidence of consistent effort. You don't have to convince anyone of your worth or your talent if you're letting your actions do the talking. The proof is in the doing. Every day when you show up, when you give it your all, when you push past the doubts and the fears, that's when you're speaking the loudest. Think about the people who have inspired you, the ones you look up to. Chances are they didn't spend their time telling the world what they were going to do. They just did it. They let their actions lead the way. They let the impact of their work be the message. And that, my friends, is a powerful way to live. You see, actions have a way of cutting through the noise. They bypass the need for validation. They don't rely on praise or acknowledgement. When you're focused on your work, when you're putting in the effort day after day, the need for approval starts to fade. You become so deeply connected to the doing that the opinions of others become irrelevant. And here's the beautiful part: when you let your actions speak, you start to build momentum. They don't rely on praise or acknowledgement. When you're focused on your work, when you're putting in the effort day after day, the need for approval starts to fade. You become so deeply connected to the doing that the opinions of others become irrelevant. And here's the beautiful part: when you let your actions speak, you start to build momentum. Every step you take, every challenge you overcome, every quiet victory, you're creating a ripple effect. You're building something that's not just a flash in the pan, but a legacy of hard work and determination. People may not notice in the beginning, but they will notice eventually. And when they do, they won't just see someone who talked about success, they'll see someone who lived it, someone who worked for it, someone who earned it. There's a quiet confidence that comes from letting your actions speak. It's the kind of confidence that doesn't need to be loud or boastful. It's rooted in the knowledge that you're doing the work, that you're moving in the right direction, even if it's one small step at a time. And let me tell you, those small steps, they add up. Every single one of them brings you closer to your goal, closer to the person you're meant to become. Now, here's what I want you to really understand: when you let your actions speak, you become unstoppable. Because actions are not dependent on the opinions of others. They are not influenced by whether or not someone believes in you. your actions, your hard work, your dedication, that is something no one can take away from you. You are in control of that. You decide how much effort you put in. You decide how much you're willing to push forward. And every day that you choose action over words, you are claiming your power. So the next time you find yourself wanting to explain, wanting to prove, wanting to convince someone of what you're capable of, pause. Take a step back and remind yourself that the most powerful statement you can make is in the work you do. You don't need to say a word. Let your actions speak for you. Let your commitment, your resilience, your results be the loudest voice in the room. Because when you do that, you'll discover that your actions will echo far beyond anything words could ever say. Resilience in the quiet, there's a kind of strength that can only be found when life goes quiet. When the crowd fades, when the noise dies down, and it's just you alone with your thoughts, your fears, and your dreams. That's where resilience is born. Not in the spotlight, not when everything's going smoothly, but in those quiet moments when the world seems still. And the only thing you have left to hold on to is the belief in yourself. You see, resilience is not loud. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. It doesn't arrive with applause. It's built in the moments of struggle that no one sees. It's built in the midnight hours when you're tired, but you keep going. It's built in the times when you're faced with failure and doubt, but something deep inside of you whispers, keep going. Don't stop now. I've learned that in life, you're going to face moments where you feel like you've given all you can, when it feels like the world is asking too much of you, and you've already poured everything you have into your dreams. But here's the truth, it's in those moments when no one is cheering for you, when no one is watching, that your resilience is truly tested and shaped. There's a quiet power in enduring, in pushing through when everything in you says to quit. That's what resilience is. It's the ability to rise, not when everyone is lifting you up, but when no one is around to see you rise at all. And let me tell you, that is the most profound kind of strength. We live in a world where people celebrate the victory but forget about the battle. They see the success, the moment of triumph, but they don't see the tears, the late nights, the times you questioned yourself. But you know those moments. You know the times you've had to hold on in the dark, waiting for a break in the clouds. You know the silence that comes after a setback when it feels like everything has gone still and you're wondering, is this it? Is this where it ends? But that silence, that stillness, that's where your resilience is forged. It's where you decide whether you're going to stand up and try again or let the quiet defeat you. And the truth is, every single time you choose to stand, even in the silence, even in the absence of applause, you're proving to yourself that you are stronger than you ever imagined. In the quiet, you learn what you're truly made of. There's no audience, no validation from the outside world, just you, facing yourself, facing your journey. And that's where resilience lives. It lives in those small, everyday decisions to keep moving forward, to keep believing in yourself, even when the world around you seems indifferent. It's easy to keep going when the sun is shining, when everyone is cheering you on. But the real growth, the real power comes from enduring through the storms. That's where you develop the kind of resilience that cannot be shaken. And here's what's so powerful about resilience in the quiet: it makes you unbreakable. Not because you never fall, but because every time you do, you rise again. And each time you rise, you come back stronger, wiser, more determined. You come back with a deeper understanding of who you are and what you're capable of. You see, the quiet isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace, because in that quiet space, you're given the opportunity to reflect, to regroup, to rebuild. The world may be silent, but within you, There's a voice saying, this is not the end. This is just the beginning of something greater. That's what resilience sounds like. It's that quiet voice inside that refuses to give up, that refuses to be silenced, no matter how dark the moment seems. And the more you practice resilience in the quiet, the more you begin to realize that you don't need external validation to keep going. You don't need someone to tell you that you're on the right path. You have that knowledge inside of you. You have the strength, the determination, the resilience to push through any obstacle. There will be times when the silence feels overwhelming, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to bear. But remember, it's in those moments that your greatest strength is being developed. Every challenge, every setback, every moment of doubt is an opportunity for you to build resilience. It's an opportunity for you to rise, not in front of an audience, but within yourself. And here's the most beautiful part of all: when you come through the quiet, when you emerge from those dark moments, your resilience will speak louder than any words ever could. The world may not have seen your struggle, but they will see your strength. They will see the way you carry yourself, the way you face challenges with grace, the way you stand tall, no matter what life throws your way. Because at the end of the day, it's not the noise that defines you, it's the quiet. It's how you handle the moments when no one is watching, when no one is there to applaud. That's where your resilience is built, and that's where your power lies. The power of self-awareness, one of the most transformative things I've learned in my life, is this: everything begins with knowing who you are, truly knowing who you are. Not who the world says you should be, not the labels people put on you, but the deep, undeniable understanding of who you are at your core. And let me tell you, that kind of self-awareness is a superpower. When you are self-aware, you move through the world differently. You're no longer living your life for other people. You stop chasing approval, stop seeking validation, because you're rooted in something far more powerful: the truth of who you are and what you're here to do. That, my friends, is liberation. Self-awareness doesn't just happen overnight. It's a journey, a process of peeling back the layers, of stripping away all the noise, the expectations, and the pressure that the world puts on you. It requires time, reflection, and sometimes silence. Silence. But once you get there, once you tap into that place of understanding within yourself, you unlock a whole new level of strength, of clarity, of peace. There's a certain magic that happens when you become self-aware. You start to see your life with new eyes. You recognize your patterns, both the ones that serve you and the ones that serve you and the ones that hold you back. You begin to understand why you do the things you do, why you react the way you react, and most importantly, you start to see how you can change, how you can grow, how you can step into the person you were always meant to be. And here's the thing: self-awareness isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest. Honest with yourself about what you want, what you need, and what you're willing to do to get there. It's about recognizing your flaws, your insecurities, and your fears, but not letting them control you. When you are self-aware, you don't run from your weaknesses, you face them head on, you accept them, and then you decide how you're going to move forward anyway. That's the power of self-awareness. It gives you control over your own narrative. It puts you in the driver's seat of your life rather than letting the world or your circumstances dictate who you should be. When you're self-aware, you're able to align your actions with your purpose, your values, and your truth. You stop wasting time trying to fit into molds that don't serve you. Instead, you carve out your own path unapologetically. And let me tell you something: when you are clear about who you are, the world responds differently to you. People can sense when someone is living in alignment with their true self. It's magnetic. It draws the right opportunities, the right people, the right energy into your life. That's because when you know who you are, you stop sending mixed signals to the universe. You stop allowing other people to define you. and instead you show up fully, authentically, in every space you enter. But here's the thing, self-awareness isn't just about knowing what you want, it's about knowing what you don't want. It's about setting boundaries, knowing when to say no, and not feeling guilty for putting yourself first. So many of us have been conditioned to think that saying no is selfish, but let me tell you, sometimes the most selfless thing you can do is honor your own needs. Because when you are fully aligned with yourself, you have more to give to the world. You're not pouring from an empty cup. You're not sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of others' expectations. Instead, you're showing up as the best version of yourself, and that's a gift to everyone around you. Self-awareness also gives you the power to be still, to stop chasing, to stop comparing yourself to other people. So often we look at what others are doing and think, I should be there by now, or why am I not as successful as them? But when you are truly self-aware, you understand that your journey is yours and yours alone. You trust the timing of your life. You don't rush the process because you know that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And let me tell you, that's a freeing place to be. When you're grounded in self-awareness, failure doesn't scare you as much. Because you realize that failure is just feedback. It's just a part of the journey, a stepping stone along the way. You're able to look at setbacks not as a reflection of your worth, but as an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to realign. That's the beauty of being self-aware. You don't take things as personally. You don't let the highs make you arrogant or the lows make you bitter, because you know that none of these external things define who you are. So my friends, if there's one thing I can tell you today, it's this: make time for yourself. Make time to get to know the real you. Ask yourself the hard questions. Listen to your inner voice and trust it. Because when you are self-aware, when you truly understand who you are, you unlock a power that no one can take from you. And that, my friends, is the kind of power that can change the world. Celebrate quiet victories. We live in a world that glorifies the big moments, don't we? The grand achievements, the public recognition, the loud applause. But I've come to learn that it's the quiet victories, the ones no one sees, that often mean the most. Those little milestones we reach along the way, the ones that may not get a spotlight, but are just as important, if not more so. Those are the moments that shape us, that strengthen us, and that keep us moving forward. You see, life isn't just made up of the big wins. Life is a series of small steps, little triumphs that don't always come with fanfare, but are just as worthy of celebration. Every time you choose to get back up after a fall, that's a victory. Every time you push through the doubt, the fear, the uncertainty, that's a victory. And we need to start celebrating those moments, because those are the moments that matter most. There is power in recognizing your own progress, even when it feels like no one else notices. It's easy to get caught up in the chase for the big win, for the moment when everything clicks and the world finally applauds you. But let me tell you something, if you wait for the big moments to celebrate yourself, you will miss the beauty of the journey. You will overlook the quiet victories that are happening every single day. Think about it. How many times have you moved forward, even when you were scared? How many times have you accomplished something that felt small to others, but was a mountain for you to climb? Those moments matter. Those are the victories that build your character, that deepen your resilience, that strengthen your belief in yourself. When you start to honor the quiet victories, something shifts inside you. You stop waiting for the world to validate you. You stop measuring your success by external standards. You realize that every step forward is progress, even if it's not flashy, even if no one else claps for you. And that's where true power lies, not in waiting for the world to celebrate you, but in learning to celebrate yourself. You know, it's in those quiet moments when you're sitting with yourself, reflecting on all you've been through, that you start to see just how far you've come. Maybe you didn't win the award, maybe you didn't hit the big milestone yet, but look at all the battles you fought and won along the way. Look at the days you didn't give up. Look at the moments when you chose to keep going, even when it felt like you were walking alone. Those are the victories that truly matter. The quiet victories are the ones that teach you how strong you really are. They're the moments that show you what you're made of. When the world goes quiet and there's no one around to cheer you on, that's when you find out what you're truly capable of. And every time you push through, every time you rise above the challenges, you're winning a battle no one else may see, but you see it. And that is enough. Think of the moments that might seem insignificant to someone else but are monumental to you. Maybe it's getting through a tough day when you didn't think you could. Maybe it's having the courage to speak up when you've always stayed silent. Maybe it's choosing to forgive, choosing to let go, or simply choosing to believe in yourself one more time. Those moments matter. Those are the quiet victories that deserve to be honored. And here's the thing, when you learn to celebrate those quiet victories, you start to appreciate the journey in a whole new way. You stop rushing toward the next big thing because you understand that every little win is part of the bigger picture. You start to see the beauty in the small steps, in the incremental progress, in the daily acts of courage that no one else may notice but you. And that's where true fulfillment comes from, not just from the big achievements, but from recognizing the power in the small ones. Celebrating your quiet victories is an act of self-love. It's a way of saying to yourself, I see you, I see your effort, I see how hard you're trying. And that is enough. It's about honoring the journey, not just the destination. It's about giving yourself credit for every time you've shown up, for every time you've pushed through, for every time you've chosen to keep going, even when it would have been easier to quit. So often we wait for others to acknowledge our efforts, to tell us we're doing a good job, to validate our progress. But the truth is, the most important validation you'll ever receive is the one that comes from within. It's the moment when you look at yourself and say, I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of who I'm becoming. That's where the real celebration begins. And let me tell you something, when you start to celebrate your quiet victories, you change the way you see yourself. You start to realize that you're not defined by the big external markers of success. You're defined by the resilience, the strength, and the courage that you show every day. You're defined by the quiet moments of perseverance that no one else may see, but you feel deep in your soul. When you honor those moments, you start to build a relationship with yourself that is unshakable. You start to trust yourself more, believe in yourself more, because you know that every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. You start to see that you are enough, not because of what you achieve, but because of who you are and the journey you are on. And here's the most beautiful part: when you learn to celebrate your own quiet victories, you inspire others to do the same. You give others permission to honor their small wins, to see the value in their own journey, to stop waiting for the world to validate them. Your celebration becomes a ripple effect, spreading out into the world, encouraging others to find the beauty in their own path. So, my friends, don't wait for the big win to start celebrating. Don't wait for the world to tell you you're enough. Celebrate every step of the way. Celebrate the quiet victories, the ones that happen in the stillness, in the spaces where no one else is watching. Because those are the moments that define who you are. Those are the moments that shape your journey. And those are the victories that deserve to be celebrated every single day. As we walk through life, it's the quiet victories that sustain us, that whisper to our hearts, you are capable, you are resilient. Those moments of triumph, when no one is watching, are what give us the strength to keep going. They remind us that success isn't defined by the grand applause of the world, but by the inner peace and satisfaction that come from knowing we've given our best. So my friends, don't wait for the big moments to start celebrating. Celebrate now. Celebrate the small, steady steps forward. And when you honor these moments, the strength it takes to rise after you fall, to keep going when the road is hard, and to believe in yourself even when no one else does. So go ahead, celebrate yourself. Because every quiet victory is a testament to your growth, your resilience, and know that every step you take is bringing you closer to the person you are destined to be.